Okay, for number 4, I notice there's an equation over here, not equation, inequality, and I'm looking at it. What the way I like to do inequality, especially absolute value in the root problems, that one thing I kind of know about, I know the domain of the problem, but I don't think that's really going to necessarily help me out. I think what's going to help me is if I can graph each side separately. All right. So what I want to do is go to the whiteboard, and I want to graph them separately. And this is problem number 4. And let me write this down for you. And this is going to be the root of. This is going to be 4x over 3 plus 1 less than the absolute value of x minus 2 minus 1. And what I want to do is I want to graph two things out. The first thing I want to graph out is a root function. And I know this thing, it looks like this over here somewhat. But I want to get I'm not going to say a detailed picture, but a better picture than what I just put over there. Put the x and y axis down. And the first thing I'll do is just talk about what the, when it hits the x-axis. It hits the x-axis when 4x over 3 plus 1 equals 0, which would be 4x over 3 equals minus 1, or x equals minus 3/4. So I got minus 1 here, and 3/4 is minus 3/4 is over here. And then I know there's a point over here, and again, that x-intercept is going to be minus 3/4, comma 0. The y-intercept pretty easy, by the way. You get 0, and then you get a 1. So I'll put this over here, and I'm going to say this graph looks sort of like this over here. All right? Let me get my eraser out and erase some of the doohickeys over here. All right? So the next thing I want to do is graph out that absolute value function. And I know what they look like, too. I mean, it looks like this over here. Right? That's what it looks like. But I want to get this so it's on the graph paper, and I'm kind of looking at it. And the first thing I'll do is I want to get the y-intercept of this guy over here. So I'll write this over here. Y equals the absolute value of x minus 2 minus 1. And if I set x to be 0, what would you get? You would get 2 minus 1, which is 1. So I'm seeing one point of intersection right over here. All right? Now, the other thing I want to point out is that what else I could do is talk about the general shape of this thing over here. And it's an absolute value function. It looks like this over here. It's been shifted 2 units to the right, but also is going down 1. Standard translation, by the way. So I'm going to say it looks sort of like this over here. Again, there's a point of intersection over here somewhere. All right. And what's this point over here going to be? It's the absolute value function. It's going to be at 2. And then to get minus 1 over here. All right? And then I do have one point of intersection, but before I do that, I want to point out, I'm looking at this, and the question is, when is the absolute value function bigger than that? And I'm going to say over here and over here. But here's the deal. It's going to stop here. All right? It's going to stop from here. All right? So I think I can, put some of this down like right away. All right, like what do you mean by right away? Just looking at it. I'm going to say minus 3/4. That's right here, by the way. Up to the number 0. And it's certainly greater at minus 3/4. At 0, it's exactly equal to us. I have to exclude that. Union, I got to figure something out here, by the way. I'm not sure what it is at this point, but union, and it goes off to infinity. I don't know what this number is. So I'm going to point out, really what I'm doing is I'm setting up this over here. By the way, you could probably guess at the number. I really don't want to do that. I want to know what it's equal to, and I'm looking at this section of the curve over here. And what would that be equal to? X minus 2 minus 1. Let me write this over here. And that would be x minus 3. I think what most students would probably do is square both sides. Get x squared minus 6x plus 9. I think what most students would do now is multiply both sides by 3. You get 4x plus 3, 3x squared minus 18x plus 27. I guess we'll do a zero product rule, right? So 3x squared. Let's see, minus 22x. No, it's not too bad. And then what? Plus 24 equals 0. going to give it a shot in factoring department. I hope it's not like a really difficult number, by the way. I'm going to say 3x and x. I can say 18, 24 would be 4 and 6. Minus. Let me just check it out, by the way. You do get 3x squared. Let's see, you get minus 18 minus 4 is minus 22. Yeah, it worked like a charm. And there's two answers here, x equals 6, and over here, x equals 4/3. By the way, I know it can't be 4/3. And why is that? Just look at the picture, it can't be 4/3. So what's this point over here? This point over here is going to be 6, all right? Now, suppose that you need to figure out the other number. Not really, but you could figure it out if you want. Just plug it in. And the absolute value function is 6 minus 2, which is 4. The absolute value of 4 is 4, and 4 minus 1 is 3. All right? But I didn't need to do that. This is my answer. And my answer goes from minus 3/4 inclusive up to 0, not including, union 6, not inclusive, off to infinity. And we're done. Thank you.